Hi, Aquarius, my sun sign brothers and sisters. Welcome to your May Master video with me, Raphael. I just want to say for all of you, and for all of the love, the outpouring of love, for the comments and the testimonials and all of it, it just means the absolute world while I was away. And now that I'm back as well, and the love continues, I'm really very humbled. So thank you so much. It really does mean a lot. And let's get into it. So with these, you're going to be getting a whole lot of what you love. You're going to be getting a little bit of something new. You're going to be getting plenty of what you already love. They're going to be longer. They're going to be deeper. And ultimately, I think these are going to be a lot more valuable to you. The frequency of how I deliver content and stuff to you is going to change. So I will say to you, stay on this path. If you're interested in seeing where it all goes and what I've got in store for you, stay with me, all right? Because I promise you, the things that I'm going to bring you are going to be that much more important, that much more valuable, and that much more long lasting as well. So, with that said, whenever I'm talking about astrology, I'm talking about whole sign tropical Western astrology. And if I don't ever give you the dates of the transit, you'll find that stuff in the description box below. All right, so let's get into it. On May the 1st, Venus, right out the gate, Venus comes back into the sign of Aries, into your third house of communications, conversations, your mind, contracts, your skill set, the skills that you have with your hands as well is the third house. Now, Venus is bringing charm, harmony to your words, to your ideas, to the concepts that you're sharing, maybe even to your local environment. This is a great time for writing, for connecting with siblings or neighbors. It's a really excellent time as well for content creation if you're doing anything like that, expressing yourself with softness, magnetism, and allure. Remember, Venus helps us shine. Wherever Venus goes, she cleans up and tightens up that area. She makes it look more agreeable, sound more harmonious, brings a melodious kind of energy to that space, and really helps us find the sweetness out of those things. And as Venus for you rules your fourth house of home, property, and real estate, and family. And she also rules your ninth house of your higher wisdom. It might be a time where you start to connect your home decisions or your travel plans, or maybe bring beauty to the way that you like communicate your beliefs in some regard. It may also be as well that some kind of commercial or local aspect to this, like sales, marketing, maybe even neighborhood visibility might all be themes. Maybe your business is all online and you start doing more in your locality. Maybe you're doing lots in your locality and you start taking it online. Now, in the background of this, on the same day, Saturn is sitting directly on the North Node, and this is in your second house of money, finances, and resources. And it's really asking you, like, what you're being asked to think about here is to refine how you speak about how and why you speak and what you share with the world, but more importantly, how you communicate your innate value on now those two transits aren't speaking to each other per se, but I do feel like they're important. Now it's important to mention them. On May the 5th, Mercury comes into a conjunction with Chiron, and they are going to sextile or provide an opportunity in connection to Jupiter. So you've got Mercury and Chiron coming together in your third house. You've got Jupiter in your fifth house. He's been there for a while. This is a healing moment for your voice, something that you share now, something that you talk about. Mercury meets Chiron in the third house. You're able to speak about something that you've held onto for a long time. You're sharing something that maybe gets a few raised eyebrows, like something that you say where people are like, holy shit, I had no idea you'd been through that or that this had happened to you, especially around creativity, visibility, relationships, especially relationships with children if you've got them. You're now with Jupiter's support from the fifth house. This could be a really powerful day to write, teach, or share in some way, or maybe even find a way to tap into your adult play in some regard, to find or create more emotional release. It's a really great day for a launch. Just make sure that the message is clear and it's aligned with what like your ideal audience actually is. Say the thing, right? And then let it land. Now, on May the 11th, Mercury is going to come into Taurus. Mercury is flying at this point. So on May the 11th, Mercury comes into the sign of Taurus. It comes into your fourth house. Mercury in the fourth house, you might become, yes, you might become more introspective in some way and more focused on home and family and maybe even private matters. But it's also possible that through this transit, you start to get more active about how you are looking at the house. So maybe you start to organize your living space. Maybe you start to journal through some of the family patterns that you've experienced. Maybe you speak openly with those closest to you, particularly like a parent or maybe even a sibling. Mercury for you rules the fifth house, joy, creativity, pleasure, romance, speculative endeavors, and hobbies. Your eighth house of other people's money, finances, and resources. So, emotional conversations may lead to a greater sense of intimacy or potentially even transformation in some way. This is really great. Like, if you've got a home based business or a home based business idea, and like you need help getting your ducks in a row around long-term financial matters that are tied to property or family investments, this is actually going to be a great transit for you. And it goes through till kind of almost the end of the month. Now, on May the 14th, we've got a beautiful grand fire trine, and this for you is happening across what we call the social houses. You've got Venus in your third house of communications, conversations. You've got Mars in your seventh house of relationships, partnerships, and contracts, and then you've got the moon in your 11th house of social connections, interactions, the gains from your business. Now, this could be that this could be an energy of passion, conversation, and collaboration. There's definitely a social element to this. Now, the moon is just off of being full. It's in Sagittarius. It's still got quite a lot of light and a lot of power. And so this is great, actually. It's a wonderful moment for a launch, I feel. It's a really good time to pitch or to make something known out into the world. Another fantastic launch day, I have to say, especially for you guys. Be aware though that this will be a fast moving energy because the moon is involved in this trine. And remember, Luna, she moves so quickly that you can't, it's not like this is not build sort of energy. This is get the thing in front of as many eyes as possible energy. This is put it out into the world energy as opposed to, like hard, tangible. The energy is bold, it's magnetic, it's forward moving, right? Fire is about excitation and passion, it's about doing. And it's also really a great time for friendship, community, connecting, people who really get your vision, right? So love this for you. Now, on May the 17th, the grand earth trine that shows up is happening across the fourth, the eighth, and the 12th houses. Um, and it's happening across the fourth, the eighth, and the 12th houses. You've got the moon at this point will be in the sign of Capricorn. So for you, this is going to be in your 12th house. You've got Uranus in the fourth house at the foundation of your chart. And then you've got the South Node, which will be in the eighth house of your chart, right? So together, this is forming a quiet but potent kind of energy shift. It's like something that's deeply embedded, an emotional pattern, a generational loop, or maybe even an old fear of yours. And it's time for it now to be released, but in a really practical way, especially because the fourth house represents the end of matter or end of life, let's say. The 12th house is about, it's the final sign of the zodiac. The eighth house is about death. And more importantly, this is a waning moon, right? So all of this kind of, and then obviously as a part of this grand earth trine, we've got the South Node, which is about when something is ended or eliminated or excreted. So there is a finality or an ending quality to this grand earth trine. And it feels like because it's happening on those really deep, and this is earth energy that happens in the water houses of your chart. That's pretty powerful. And so I feel like this is going to give you a chance to really um what's the word that I'm looking for? Like, yeah, I think this is going to give you a chance to really let go of something. It's like whatever ends right now, let it end, right? Even though this is a waning moon, it brings the potential for long-term stable growth. It's going to help by clearing out what no longer really has weight in your life. And this is a day for trust. It's a day for closure. It's absolutely a day for a deeper kind of like personal freedom on in the internal planes. On May the 18th, the Sun comes into a conjunction with your modern ruling planet Uranus in your fourth house. This is your ruler meets the Sun in your home zone. This is a total shake-up or illumination around your living situation, around your family, or your inner foundations in some way. Whatever comes to light now will likely be quite surprising, potentially very profound, or maybe even very personal. Expect shifts in how you see yourself in relation to others. Identity, self-image, relationships are all getting a bit of a jolt here. And so you could end up seeing these things in a very, very different light, especially because the Sun for you rules your seventh house of relationships. You might suddenly want to move, maybe to renovate or maybe make changes that free you from old dynamics in some way. On May the 21st, the Sun enters Gemini, right? So the Sun comes into your fifth house of joy, pleasure, creativity, romance, children, if you've got them. Your self-expression, right, is all fifth house stuff. And because this is the Sun, it's illuminating these things. This is a time for you to create. It's a time for you to flirt. It's a time for you to express and explore all facets of who you are, but from that really authentic sort of Aquarian sort of space. Since the Sun also rules your seventh house, expect developments of a romantic nature or in creative partnerships too. Like if you're single, oh, honey, this is going to be a whole lot of fun. If you are partnered, it's still going to be a whole lot of fun, right? The Sun trines you from here. So you're getting a really lovely dose of luck and charisma. It's really an energy of taking a gamble, right? Whether it's a personal business move, whether it's a romantic moment, or maybe even something to do with children, because the payoff really could be delightful, even if it demands sort of more attention. Now, on May the 25th, Saturn, your ancient ruling planet, moves into the sign of Aries, into your third house. Saturn enters your third house and it immediately begins a multi-year refinement of your mental framework and your mental health, your communication style and your daily patterns, right? This is really about how you turn your knowledge and your information into skill and wisdom, learning to speak with clarity and authority, right? Choosing your words more intentionally, being more intentional about what you say, how you say it. And it's like now you begin to crystallize both your message and your platform. But as always, Saturn is about responsibility. So responsibility comes with the rewards. Your words are going to carry that much more weight at this time. So you have to really use them wisely. Now, you're only getting a taster of this. It will come back out and then it will go back in full time as of 2026. But pay attention because you're getting a good, healthy dose of it to really understand, okay, this is what the next 2.5 to 3 years are going to be about when it comes to communication, conversation, maybe when it comes to siblings. If you've got siblings, they could become a bit more challenging or a bit more of a burden at this time. How you navigate that obviously is going to be up to you. And it also suggests, because the third house is quite busy and it's also your local environment. So these might be things that become sort of more part of your day. Now, on May the 26th, Mercury enters Gemini. Mercury comes into that fifth house now. It returns to an air sign and you feel the lift immediately. It starts sending good, harmonious energy to you. Ideas are flowing, creativity sparks, conversations come alive. There is flirting, there is sexting going on. There's a whole bunch of all of these things, and it's a really great time for writing, teaching, flirting, storytelling, launching something expressive, sharing something with the world. Ruler of your fifth and eighth houses. So Mercury is also bringing a financial slant to this, and especially because the fifth house is not a financial house per se, but it is a house of lotteries, speculative endeavors, with the eighth house being implicated as well. It's about investing. So maybe you start to learn how to invest money properly, right? It might bring financial opportunities from your creations or the things that you're making, moments of intimacy through sharing your truth in some way. New beliefs about what is possible in a short frame, like in a short time frame, might also come about here. and you're going to feel sharp, right? But short on time because you're going to be so busy that there'll be a lot to do. And then it's like, what I will say to you with this is like focus on and make the smart moves. All right. Mercury will help you do this anyway, because, in Gemini, it's a good energy. Now, on May the 30th, Mercury comes into a cazimi. The Sun and Mercury come into a conjunction. This is a flash of insight, a creative genius idea, maybe even a romantic realization of some sort that really lands or impacts at this time. The Sun, in obviously, as the Sun likes being in the fifth house, it understands this space in the chart. Gemini is an interesting space for the Sun, but it's like you might get the green light to speak your truth, to pitch your passion project, or maybe even to share something that comes really deeply from the heart. And it's a brilliant day for performing, publishing, or declaring sort of, this matters to me. Um, with this as well, like with your fifth house so lit up this month, remember your voice is your magic. Right. So whatever you're sharing, whatever you're expressing from the depths of who you are, it really will shine. With the seventh house being so active as well, there's a calling in like a real sense of collaboration, aligning with people that match your pace and your vision, right? My advice to you on this, though, would be really selective about working with people that actually show up versus people that are flaky. And I get it, right? Don't get me wrong. Obviously, life happens for everybody. But let's say you're really hell bent on doing a whole bunch of collaborations. If you're collaborating with somebody that constantly lets you down, where it's maybe always at the final hurdle, or they're never available when you're available, but then you bend over backwards to make sure that you're available to them. If there's no real reciprocity there, you're going to have to think really hard about these connections this month. On now, let's get into your lunations. Yes, you're getting new moon, you're getting full moon as well. I told you this is a master video. You're getting everything, right? You're going to get all of the goodies. So, like I said, they're going to be longer, they're going to be deeper, they're going to be more valuable in the long run than me just churning out 12 tarot readings every week, right? You're getting, as I said, I want to make this really valuable for you guys and something that you can come back to each month, right? So, you're going to come back to this. Don't just watch it once and then forget about it. Like, come back to it and use it as a resource. That's how I'm creating these for you from here on in. On May the 12th, you've got a Scorpio full moon in your 10th house. This is lighting up your career, your reputation, your legacy out in the world. Something comes to a head publicly here, quite possibly, because remember, the 10th house is the most visible version of you. It could be a shift in a role, a release of a responsibility, or a recognition of your efforts. Uranus is involved here, so it may have a bit of a shocking or a revelatory kind of energy to it as well. So just keep that in mind. It might come with an emotional tension between what the world expects of you and also what your soul wants for itself. And while Uranus only rules, while Uranus obviously rules Aquarius, not this moon, it still connects to your sort of sense of self and how you see yourself reflected back at you from the world in some way. Expect this lunation to really shift something about your personal identity, your goals, or maybe even your public perception. And the fact that it's the moon in the 10th as well, like how you feel about something, you might feel like it's written on your face. All right. So just keep that in mind. On the 28th of May, we've got a gorgeous new moon in the sign of Gemini, again in that fifth house. This new moon, quite frankly, is one of, if not the best new moon of the year. It's for joy, it's for creativity, it's for pleasure, it's for play, it's for romance, it's for spending wonderful time with your kids, it's for expressing yourself. Like there are so many good energies in this new moon. Mercury, the ruler of the moon, is in the sign of the new moon, and so it's a very strong mercurial energy. It's aligned very nicely with Pluto, right? In a trine to Pluto in Aquarius. It's sextile to Neptune and Aries, Neptune and Saturn both in Aries now. So like it's like whatever you set intentions around with this new moon, not only do they grow, but they grow in a steady and sustained way that really brings tangible results eventually. This isn't just about service, it's about selling with heart and intention, right? It's about the joy, set intentions around joy, visibility, love, art, music, creativity, finding the right hobbies and the right people, having the best of what you express about yourself to the world be met with, love and connection. It's also about selling with heart and intention and offering only what's real, right? What's honest, what's powerfully deliverable by you. Say yes to the life that you want to create, mean it, and then build it. All right. So, with that said, that is your astrology and lunation section done. But before I get on to your tarot, yes, you've got monthly tarot as well. Before we get to your tarot, if you're not on my mailing list, you can get that on the link in the description box below. It means that you're not getting my weekly emails. You get a Monday, Wednesday, and Friday email. And as if all of that wasn't enough, on top of that, you get a gorgeous, I know, you get a gorgeous, sexy Rafi PDF that is all about the elements in tarot. With that, you get £50 off of my upcoming tarot course. It's the last time I'm going to be teaching this one live. So trust me, you want to be on it before Tarot 2 launches, and Tarot 1 will then go to a pre-recorded version. So with all of that said, stay tuned and we will get into your tarot section. Hi Aquarius, my sun sign brothers and sisters. Let's get into your May tarot. So before we start, as always, I would like to bless my decks of cards with all forms of love, light, peace, prosperity, and abundance. And I pray that the messages that come through are ultimately clear and concise, and they help you on your path to your highest, or should I say us on our paths, to our highest vibrational good. So I'm going to give these a shuffle. Let's pull our card for our key to the month card. So just a quick heads up and a reminder, remember, if you're not on my mailing list, you are not getting my Monday, Wednesday, and Friday emails. Yes, that's right. I increased the frequency, so you're going to be hearing from me 3 times a week to help you through your week. You're going to get special discounts and also services that you will not find anywhere on my website or my socials. So if you are up for that, you know what to do. There's a link in the description box below. I'm currently gearing up for the last ever live round of my 12-week Tarot Mentorship. So if you are interested in studying with me and you think, you know what, I want to spend 12 weeks with Raf and I want to learn how to sling them cards, you know what to do. And if you're thinking, you know what, I don't know if I want to jump straight into that, I've got the masterclass, which is currently open. It's £50 at the moment. The price for that will double very shortly. So if you want to get that, to really see what I do, how I do it, how I teach, and more importantly, to learn how to structure your readings so that they hit every single time, this is the way forward. All right, there's a link for that in the description box below. And you also, for now, you get the same £50 off you get as a discount on Tarot 1 if you decide to sign up. For your key to the month, you've got the Hierophant card. So in this deck, it's called Faith, but it is the Hierophant card. The fact that you have this means that all of these different areas of life, this month is really about restructuring for you. All right, this is a month to bring structure, routine, discipline to all different areas of your life. And it's also for you to take care of the material or the mundane aspects of everything that you are working on and towards. Now, your actions and options card, very interesting, is the Temperance card. So these two cards, in a sense, are actually linked. The Temperance card is what I call the Hierophant set free. Now, if you want to delve into that and what that means and why that is the case, you will learn that and so much more on my tarot course. But on a practical level, the fact that you've got the Temperance card as your actions and options, this is about alignment, right? This is a month where you're looking to bring a greater sense of alignment to all that you do. And it's also a month where, although you're going through the process of structuring and restructuring everything, you're looking at this through the lens of alignment and also recalibration, right? This is about you looking at where are the balance points in my life? Where are things off kilter? Where is it that I need more of one and less of the other? Where is it that I need less of one and more of the other, right? So this is you really getting a handle on the disparate parts and elements of your life. So like, you know, sometimes you look at life and you think, oh my gosh, I've got so many spinning plates and it's all just a bit much. This month is not about you taking any of the plates off or stopping to spin any of them. It's you asking yourself, how many of these plates are actually getting me to where I want to be? And more importantly, how much of my energy going into this is actually helping me in the long run? The other thing is as well, there's a big focus on your personal healing and spirituality this month. And in terms of the options that are available to you, there's a chance for you to bring a greater sense of alignment and peace into your life by really digging into what the structure or the foundations of your world actually look like and where they need to be adapted in some way. So I'm totally here for that. When it comes to your communications and conversations, you've got the Four of Cups. It's an interesting card because it means that in terms of your communications, especially with the Hierophant here, in terms of your communications this month, I think you're going to be looking at the established tutors, teachers, mentors, coaches, gurus, etc. And it's like you're starting to really understand where your place is among them. Whether you are a student, an employee, a business owner, you know, somebody that's retired, is irrelevant. I think more than anything, this is you emotionally at least starting to understand where your place is in the pecking order, so to speak. And I think, you know, even if you're disappointed with that, which it looks like some of you might be, there is a greater chance for you to adapt this because now you understand where you are. This, I think, is really, more than anything else, I think it's a greater sense of self-honesty about your work life and your professional sphere that's going to create a lot more momentum in the future. Now, you've got this with the Temperance card. And some of the conversations that you have this month will actually be very healing for you on a spiritual level, on a material level, and definitely on a professional level. For those of you that are studying or in some form of academia, the Four of Cups and the Hierophant, you've got a really strong sense of what I call the divine discontent, right? So it's maybe not necessarily with the subject itself. Maybe you put out a whole bunch of job applications. Maybe you decided to go for an internship and all of the rest of it. And it's like there's nothing, right? And you think, okay, what exactly am I doing wrong? You will see this will pick up really quickly, but for now, it's really about you restructuring what it is that you're actually going for, and more importantly, why. For those of you that are employed by somebody else, honestly, it feels to me like the work culture has been broken for some time, wherever it is that you are. And you needed this time to kind of step back and to kind of really look at things and say, okay, you know what, this has not been serving me for a good while. And it's like, now that you understand that actually it's the establishment that you're working in that is off kilter or off base, it gives you a lot more freedom to really start to put it all in its rightful time and place. For those of you that are business owners, entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, people that work for themselves, not only are you restructuring your outer world, your business, your entire life, but you're also restructuring your inner world, and you're finding a greater sense of not only alignment, but also a greater sense of emotional clarity and also emotional stability. And it's like, because you are now on a greater sense of foundation on a personal level, it actually puts you in a really strong position for being able to say, okay, now that I am solid, everything that I create from here on in is also going to be solid. So I'm here for that. Now, for those of you that are retired and no longer working, it's possible that some of you could be spending, and it may not necessarily be for you, but some of you could be spending a stint in hospital this month. And for those of you that have been on a healing journey, going for tests, etc., especially around anything to do with stomach upsets, potential bone issues, etc., this month you could actually have some good news around this. For your love and relations, you've got the Seven of Swords. So this is not an easy card, right? So I'm going to start with those of you that are partnered, married, or in a long-term commitment. It's likely that there is some disappointment this month because you realize that a partner has lied to you. Now, I will say, because of the cards that have come up, this is a lie by omission. It's not necessarily like, they've gone out of their way to deceive you because they're cheating. It feels more like they've not told you something because they thought it would be easier for you and for them if they didn't mention this. It's like it's one less thing that you have to worry or to stress about. But the problem is, and for those of you that are cross-watching for an Aquarius, if there's one thing we do not like, it's people making decisions on our behalf without consulting us about it. Like, yes, I get it. Maybe you're looking at your partner and you're thinking, you know what, they're so stressed. I think one more thing is probably going to send them over the edge. Check in with them and ask them how they feel, and all of that, and then decide whether you're going to withhold something from them. Because the truth, the saying goes, right, there are three things that cannot long stay hidden: the sun, the moon, and the truth. And it's always going to come out. And so what I will say to you is, whatever it is you have your partner has left out, it's a lie by omission. There's something that they've chosen not to tell you because they didn't know if you could handle it, which is why I say, if you're a cross watcher, don't do this to your Aquarius people. Once you break trust with Aquarians, I can promise you they will be nice to you, they will be polite, they will be pleasant, they will do all the things, they will be totally civil, but I promise you they will never trust you again. Once you break the trust of an Aquarius, right? Aries will kick and shout, Scorpio will plot your death. Like all the signs have their ways of dealing with this stuff. Aquarius people, once you break the trust, it's done. There's no coming back from that. So my advice to you would be, since that is the case, just don't get into that position. And so there is a potential this month, if you're partnered, married, or in a long-term commitment, that you will have to have some conversations around forgiveness. And maybe you'll have to lessen this up, right? It could be that your significant other really was doing this from a place of love. But it's also possible that this was actually just about them having an easier life. For those of you that are single and looking to mingle, honestly, the way that I feel like this is going to show up is, for this month, it's like you connect with someone and you absolutely hit it off with them, right? The conversation flows, it's all really great, and boom, you find out that this person is actually partnered. Now, truth be told, maybe they're in an open relationship. That's one thing, right? And most Aquarians are pretty open anyway, so they'll just be like, oh, okay, cool. But again, the thing that they really dislike about this is the fact that you didn't tell me. Let me make my own decision around this rather than making me complicit in your, extramarital experiences. So watch out for this, my dear Aquarians, this month. Now, for your money and materials, you've got the King of Wands. This is about your visibility. And this month, it's through being more visible. There are opportunities aplenty here, especially from a fire sign male, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. Someone who's probably very well established in and of themselves is inviting you for opportunity. Maybe they're offering you work. Like whatever it is that's coming forward, it's a really great opportunity. And my advice to you would be, if you fuck up and fumble the ball this time, Aquarius, you really will kick yourself later down the line, right? So no pressure. Restructuring, reorganizing, you're already doing this stuff anyway, so just make sure that when this opportunity to earn more money, to gain greater visibility, or even just to really do something at a higher level, when this shows up for you this month, really be about it, right? Be engaged. I mean, most Aquarians are, but equally, to call a spade, we can be a little bit flaky, right? And so it's just not going to rush here. It's not going to run here. Now, for those of you, when it comes to your physical health and vitality, The King of Wands as a health card is actually great, right? It usually represents there being really good health, really good energy. However, this can be a very busy card when it comes to the mind. And so sometimes it's like you're so busy that your mind burns you out. So just watch out for that. And then finally, when it comes to your home and environment, this is working on the home. It's DIY, it's beautifying the home, but in a very practical sense. You could be, maybe for some of you, you decide to do things or take it upon yourself to do something that, you know, maybe you were originally you were going to you know, hire it out or outsource it. But it's like you kind of say to yourself, like, actually, you know what, I'm going to learn to do this myself, right? So, and I know this is definitely true for me. Like, there's a few things that I'm kind of like, you know what, I could probably do this myself, and that may actually be the best way forward. With that said, all in all, it looks pretty good. If you haven't got your Elements in Tarot PDF, you get that just for opting into my mailing list. Tarot courses live. Doors shut on the 3rd of May because on the 4th of May, doors, should I say, the course goes live and we will be in class for the 12 weeks that follow. With that said, I wish you an abundance of all of that good stuff. Take care and I'll see you soon.